Hello, this is Zach, and I'm going to show you how to use the detail layout feature in the Takeoff program to tell it how your parts are oriented relative to your tagline. So I've drawn here a simple elevation. Um, all the verticals are the same, the jambs are just opposite. It's horizontal, a sill can and a head can for a standard stick wall. And we're going to go through some of these details. They have pretty much all the different features that you'll need to know how to do to get your BIM model to come out correctly, which I'll show you in a future video. This also helps you get your miters and other tilt cuts correct. So to start with, I'm going to start with the sill. One of the important things to know when you're doing the layout is where your tagline is located. For me, I have my sill tag here, and then below it is the sill can tag. This is our standard setup for this kind of elevation. So the sill tag is at the top of the sill, while the sill can is at the bottom. So going to my detail, I want to run the UD command, and you can hit enter just to open up the window. I have it shrunk down here on the side. And I've already laid out some of the parts as far as what part is assigned to what tagline. So I have a 1 on 601 detail, sill, and 2 parts on it. And I have a sill can, which has the sill can on it. So I'm going to do the layout for each of those. So I need to go to model space, and this is my sill detail. And I'll pick a part. So on the sill, I'm going to take the main body, the A754-1200, and hit this green plus button here. That starts a command in the AutoCAD window. It's asking me to pick the first point on the face of system. The face of system is always at the dim point, and for this horizontal detail, it'll run vertically. So this could be the first point here. Then I'll use ortho, select a second point, or I could use a snap. And it shows me in green what my face of system is that I selected. Now it's asking me for a point toward the interior of the system. This is the interior of the building over here where my mouse is, so I'll just click over here anywhere. Then it asks me where on the face of system is the tagline located. Remember, we looked at the elevation, and the sill tagline was at the top of the sill. So my tagline is going to be right here. Tagline is always considered to be on the face of system, so the point that you pick must be on this green line. So I'm going to use my intersection of snap, and I'm going to use this as a first point, and then use that green line there, second point. And it puts a little marker indicating that's my tagline. In this view, the tagline is just a point. Now it's asking me to select the part. So we're doing A754-1200. I'm going to select everything for that part, enter. And this last question is about attached parts. This one isn't an attached part, so I'm going to just use the default location. I'll demonstrate how that works in a little bit. Hit enter. I'm going to think for a second, and it took the part off the server, tried to line it up onto the detail, and it's showing me in green what the part is on the server and how it decided to line it up. So you can see here there's some tiny difference. It says it's a 96% match, so there must be some small difference between what's on this detail drawing and what's on the server. But otherwise, it's a pretty good match, and it looks like it's in the right place. As it did that, go over to your UD window again. See that it would fill out these 4 columns, 5 columns. It'll fill out this invert, column, offset, displacement, angle, and setback when you run that function. Some of them it'll leave blank or off just because that's what it should be set to for this layout. So now that I'm done with this one, I hit apply. So that just told the Takeoff program how that part is oriented relative to where I draw the tagline. I'm going to repeat that process with the face stop here. So again, go back to my UD window, click the green plus button, starts a command over here. And because this one is on the same tagline in the data, I don't have to tell it again where the face of system or the tagline location is. It just assumes that it's going to be the same since it's the same tagline. So all I have to do now is click the part, enter. This part isn't attached, so I can use the default location, enter. And if I'm 100% match, the green lines look good, and you can see it filled out these columns. Let's move on to the SILCAN. I only have one part for the SILCAN. Run that too. Now, because this one's on the same detail, but not the same tagline, it knows that the face of system should be the same. But it's asking me now where is the tagline, because it assumes it's a different one, and it's giving me the opportunity to pick a different point. So I'm going to, this one's, again, the SILCAN. It should be at the bottom of the part. So I use my intersection OSNAP, section of this and this, and select my part. Again, this one isn't attached. I can use the default location. Enter. That's what it came up with off the server, 86% match. And it filled out my offset, my angle, and my setback. I hit apply just to save this. On. Let's do this horizontal. By my detail, here's my horizontal. I have all these parts to do. Start with the top one. Notice how angle and setback aren't filled in, but they will be after I run this. Plus button. First point on the face of system is, so I'm just following the command prompts. Down here, maybe straight up. Interior of the system is out here somewhere. Face of system where the tagline is located. The horizontal taglines are also at the top of the horizontal. My intersection of snap here. And then select the part. 2105 it says. This horizontal isn't attached either. The shear block clips are, but the main body isn't, so I'm going to use default location there as well. Drawings on me. So I've got a 93% match, and it filled out some of these numbers. Face stop. Now the answer for this face stop should be the same as the SIL because the tagline is in the same relative location. But I'm just going to run it here anyway. It's already started pretty quick. Okay. Last stop. Same tagline, same detail. Location not attached. Stuff is getting filled out now. Now for the shear block clips. Select it. Now this last question. So far we've been using default location for all of them, but this part is actually attached. And what this question really means is, if this thing is attached to something else, where do you want the reference location on that fab ticket to appear? So in this case, the shear block clip, we always locate them on the fab ticket of the vertical as being at the top of the horizontal. So I want to click anywhere up here at the top of horizontal to tell it that is where I want the reference location of this attached part to be. Click there. It did the layout for me. 3% match. It's a little off there. Notice how it left the offset at 0, which means that it's at the same level as the horizontal tagline, but the part itself is shifted down 3/8 of an inch. So on the vertical, it will show the top of horizontal location rather than the top of clip. Very important to note that when you're running layout on an attached part like that, and to fill out that last question correctly, or all of your clips will be in the wrong locations. So to show you again, doing the other side, click on it, and then the last question, reference location, I want that to be the top of the horizontal for this attached part. Click up here, and it's done. Another thing about layout is anytime you have a fixed length part, you should tell it which end of the tagline it is closer to. This will save you a lot of work in your BIM model, and it's very useful for some other things, especially if you have different shear block clips on different ends. So I'm going to tell it that I want this shear block clip here to be on the left end of the horizontal, and the other one will be on the right end. And to do that, under the fab number, in parentheses, after the actual fab number, you say either parenthesis L for left or parenthesis R for right. You can also do parenthesis T or B for top and bottom. This not only tells it where, relative to the tagline, this fixed length part is located, but also which part this thing can be attached to. So if I had one shear block clip on the left and a different one on the right, I can tell it that I want this specific one on the left vertical only, and it won't attach to the other side. You should always fill this out for every fixed length part, no matter what. It's good practice. Let's do something a little more difficult. We'll do a vertical. Not really difficult, just different. I'm going to do this vertical here, intermediate. So a very important thing about verticals is that when you do the layout on them, you have to make sure that you have this vertical checkbox checked. Notice on the horizontal, obviously I didn't have that checked, and it gave me a certain set of answers. If you have the vertical box checked, it will give you a different set of answers. So if you forget to check this when you run before you run your layout, you'll get all the wrong answers, and you'll wonder why your BIM model is wrong. So always make sure to check this appropriately. This doesn't just apply to vertical taglines, but vertical AP taglines. Anything that you would do a layout on the vertical detail, you'll want to check that box. So I have two parts here. I have the actual vertical part, and then I also have a lug that goes into the head cam. I'll do this for here first. Vertical checkbox is checked. First point on the face of system should be over here. My ortho, second point there. Interior of the system is over here. It's the same series of questions. Face of system where the tagline is located. We always put our verticals on the right side of the vert. So right here should be the tagline location. And now select the part. You can select some of the part. You can select all of the part. If it's modified, you can select what you have, and it'll try its best to figure out what it is. This part isn't attached, so I'm going to use default location. It's thinking. The more ins and outs on the part, the longer this calculation takes. Also, if it finds a perfect match, it will go a lot quicker. So here we go. Looks like they picked the right location there, and here's my setup. Now for this last part here, this is that head lug. I can't really run layout because it's not here. I'll show you what that looks like on the sill, or the head, for those not familiar with the system. At the top of each vertical, we'll have one of these lugs. There's two different kinds, one for captured, one for structurally glazed. And I can't really run the layout of this part off of that vertical detail. And I don't want to run it off of this because it'll just be wrong. So that's something that will have to be moved in the BIM model if I want it to look correct. So I'm not going to actually run layout on that. But again, this is a fixed length part. So I do want to tell it which end this thing is attached to. So this will be T for top. So at the top of the vertical tagline, I want you to put this lug. And when